everybody, Aaron J. Anderson here, Aaron J. Anderson Photography, and wanted to go through a little bit of an intro or a primer on the GX8 because some of you are going to wonder, is it something about the G7 I didn't like? Because just, I don't know, a couple months ago I made a video saying 7 months later with the G7, how do I still like it? And it's still a great camera. There's nothing I disliked about it, actually. Well, I didn't like the fact that you can't monitor audio because it doesn't have a headphone jack. And I believe the record limit was, what was it, 30 minutes or something like that? Can't quite remember now. So there's a few things, of course, that I didn't like, but nothing that I didn't like that got me to get a GX8. The reason I got a GX8 is because I've been doing lots of photography, and I was trying to figure out, by the way, I'm doing a video, I'm doing a test now, I don't know if you guys can see that, on my battery mod. This, what do you call that? This battery grip is not made for this camera, and it does actually work as far as doubling your time. And I'm going to do, this is part one of the series of the GX8 series, and I'm going to do a tutorial on how I did that. And I just got back last night from doing I was hired to do a birthday party in a Japanese garden. It was really beautiful, and it worked out great, and I'll go through that later. But the G7, nothing wrong with it. So if you're looking at my video like, oh my gosh, he switched, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I got the GX8 because I really wanted to use the sharpest lens on the planet, apparently, and that is the Olympus 75mm f1.8. But it didn't have image stabilization, and if you're going for a lens that's super sharp but you don't have image stabilization, then there's a good chance that you're going to get motion blur, completely nulling the sharpness of it. So I really wanted image stabilization. You can get around it, of course, but if you can get the technology, get it. And the G7 doesn't have built-in image stabilization, and I said in my video that I didn't really care about it. And as long as you have stabilized lens, it's not a big deal, but that Olympus 75mm apparently is the best lens out there. This isn't about lenses, but so I started looking for bodies with image stabilization in it. And I came to the the G85. I'm going to get all these screwed up. It's the smaller camera. It's a range style type camera like this. And coming from, this is the range style, the non-DSLR with the eyepiece over here instead of in the middle. I was, after having the Sony a6000, I really was turned off on the rangefinders. After I got the G7 and I looked inside the viewfinder of the G7, I was like, whoa. I mean, the Sony a6000 in comparison to the G7 viewfinder was like looking through a pinhole. I mean, you're just always straining to look through that, and it was just really annoying. It was just really, for me, maybe not for you, but it was really hard. But then you get the G7, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm looking at a 4K 62-inch TV in comparison. I'm like, this is just beautiful, Fell in love with that, and that kind of turned me off with the rangefinder. When I was looking at the G85, because of built-in image stabilization, it has the same 16 megapixel as the GX7, the G7, except it has the Aliasing filter taken off, which means you're going to get 10% increase in resolution, but that's micro detail, and I'll go into that later. It's not going to make a big impact on most of your videos or photography. Because I wanted to use a 75mm lens on an image stabilized body. Then I questioned myself, I don't like the small viewfinder, and it's a 16:9 viewfinder, which means if you're shooting photography in a 3:4 ratio, then you're going to get the sides cut off, and now it's even smaller, and I'm like, I don't know. So then I said, what Panasonic cameras, because I love Panasonic cameras, I'm like all in. I've had the GH2, GH3, GH4, the G7, and now the GX8. But before I got that, I was like, I want to stick with Panasonic. What is the absolute best quality photography camera I can get in the Panasonic line? And that is the GX8. Hands down, it's just the best. If you want the best image quality as far as photography is concerned, and video is really great as well, but you want to get the GX8 because it has a 20.3, I believe, megapixel sensor. It does have a Aliasing filter on it, but like I said, it's only micro detail. Then I started when I found that the GX8 has that, I poo-pooed it a long time ago when it came out because of the rangefinder. I was like, I just don't want to do that. But then I started hearing reviews saying that people looking through the viewfinder, it's the best viewfinder they've ever looked into. And I was like, ooh, that's interesting. Then when I looked through that, I was like, wow, I thought the G7 was great. This is even better. Not a compare. It's not a wow factor from the A6000 to the G7, but the G7 to the GX8, it's a really, really nice viewfinder. So I was only turned off by these style of cameras because of those really small viewfinders, but I've changed my mind on this. I actually like this better than the DSLR type because I am right. I'm still doing the test here. I am right eye dominant, so my face is on this side, and it just works out really good. Now the G7 still handles much better than this camera, but with these modifications that I've done, that you'll see if you know what a GX8 looks like, I can't even get this in. You're gonna notice that there's all kind of little can you see that modifications I did here and all that. It's perfect now. So I just wanted to go through that brief intro. I don't know how brief this was. I might have been talking too long already. 6 minutes, not too bad. But the G7 is still amazing. I mean, I actually like holding that better, but I like this form factor that it's just very thin, and I just like it. The GH3, GH4, the G7, they're all kind of like, it's kind of like a ball, It's just a round type of camera. It never bothered me before until I got this. I was like, I just like the thin form factor of this, even with the grip on it, actually. And this grip is amazing, and I'm going to get into that in the next video. So that's it, guys. The GX8 is the absolute best quality. Oh, micro. Let's talk about the micro detail with the aliasing filter removed because the GH5 was just announced. As far as photography is concerned, or image quality of photography, I don't think the GH5 is going to be any better than this because they're both 20.3 megapixel sensors. It does have a new sensor that is mainly, I've looked at everything about the GH5 already, and all the reps were saying that sensor is mainly made to offload the information quicker, and that's mainly for the video because now you're shooting all these really awesome high bitrate videos from that GH5. But as far as photography is concerned, 20.3 megapixels, that aliasing filter removed or not added to the GH5 is only going to give micro detail, and that's just not my words. That's what the reps say. And I've looked at lots of comparisons from the G85 and the G7. Both have the same 16 megapixel sensor, but that new smaller G85 has the aliasing filter removed. And when you take a photo of a landscape, you're not going to notice a difference. Even portraits, you're not going to notice a difference. And this is all the reviews and tested that I've looked at. You're only going to notice it from what I've read and all the things I've seen is if you take a picture of a scene, and let's say there's some fabric over here and other things like that, zooming in at 200%, are you only going to see difference in that fabric where you have, a pattern maybe in a fabric, and you know how fabric has all these little micro little threads and lines and all those type things and little hairs and fabric hairs and all that stuff. That's where you really notice the difference. So aliasing filters really don't take away that much from video or photography. I think they're just going with that because now they've learned how to not have aliasing and moire in their footage and video, so in photos. So they're probably just saying, let's just not add it, and so that's why they're doing it. And hey, 10% you get better micro. Good. I mean, I'm all for it. But going from the GX8 to the GH5 for photography is just, I wouldn't do it. There's no reason for me to do that. At least that I've come to now. But for video, definitely GH5. So that's it, guys. The G7 is still amazing. If you don't have the money to get the GX8, G7 handles better out of the box than the GX8 for me. And I will go through, let me go through some of the issues in this intro. The one thing I didn't like about this is now I'll go into it later, guys, because this is going to be too long and that's not what this is. So stay tuned to the next video. If you guys please thumb up the video and subscribe. I'm not asking for any money. I'm just asking for subscriptions because it really helps out any YouTuber that you watch. If you really like them and you like their content, subscribe to them. doesn't take much just to subscribe. You can even, and then you'll get notified in your YouTube about new videos. If you go to subscriptions, you can see my new videos or your other favorite YouTubers come up and stuff like that. So please do that, guys. I'm going to be out of here so I don't talk too much. I'll talk to you later. Stay tuned for episode 2 coming up in a few days. Goodbye.